side. There. Can you see it on yours?
Yeah, mine is.
Okay, perfect. I just don't want us to lose it again.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody. This is Meet My Friends. My guest today is Brandon Ward, and he's going to be number 20.
Oh, that's perfect. Look at that.
Tell us a little bit about you. What is happening in your life right now?
So, what I'm saying, my souls, I'm still continuously going to Toastmasters to perfect my speaking craft. But other than that, honestly, I'm just preparing for my pivot, preparing for 2021. 2020 it's been a difficult year, but it's been an awakening year. It has been a year of opportunity. So luckily for me, I've really been able to pivot into my passion. So I've been doing my business coaching, and not just doing the business coaching. I've also been running my nonprofit Dream Safe project with my wife, who's the co-founder. What this time has allowed us to do was to be able to meet a lot of other community members who are aligned on the same purpose, got the same passion of helping out other members throughout the community, depending on whatever their purpose is, and then being able to partner with those nonprofits coming together to create a wraparound service. Other than that, this year has been monumental for me because it's always been my goal to be an author. So I've authored 2 books this year during COVID-19. One being The Pain of a Man, and then the second being The Manifesting Playbook. Both available on Amazon. And then we got a bunch of other things going on. My wife and I, we're working with another group out of Maryland with an anthology book where it's a bunch of authors coming together to write a couples, entrepreneur, business, love type of book. So we're working on that. And then this weekend, we have matter of fact, they moved it to next weekend, but we're scheduled to film for a reality TV show where they're going to come out and come check out the family. So I'm just looking forward to what the new year is bringing, but I just want to get through these times and just try to make sure that I take care of myself in the process.
I understand.
Yeah. Oh, of course, we got payback too, so it's payback season. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm busy and tired, but I love it. I'm living.
Anything you can take as an opportunity, because like big names always say you never know who is in the audience. uh,
Right.
I had a training on Saturday with NSA, and our guest speaker, she was talking about a band that was playing at a bar, and it was only 2 guests, and they didn't know who the guests were, and one of them happened to be a producer, but they play it like they loved it, and they made a performance where they convinced the producer and they got hired right there. So her recommendation was that you need to do your best regardless of who is in the audience, because you never know.
Right, right. That's one of that's one of my themes as well. When I started on early on into my speaking career, I listened to a lot of Les Brown, and he would tell a story on it didn't matter how many people were in the audience, 1,000, he still perform at his best. And I've been challenged in situations like that where I've had the class where the students have been uh, on behavioral punishment or going through that process, and there was only one kid in there, and I honestly brought it as if it was thousands of kids, and it felt good. It felt good after. So it's a great learning experience. It's great advice, Maria.
It's just you never know who's gonna remember you and recommend you. And I feel like sometimes luck for people changes so quickly that you'll be amazed. Sometimes where there you'll be talking to someone where you don't see the potential, and suddenly something happens where they just bloom, right? So you
Yeah.
never know. It's
Yeah, I truly believe in manifestation. I'm very spiritual as well. I truly believe that God communicates through people. Universe communicates through people, whether it be a message, whether it can be a meme, whatever. It seems like the right people come along at the right time, especially in this life that I've designed for myself, and also opportunities that come along at the right time. So you never know, like you say, you never know who you are talking to. It's always best to bring your best foot forward. I guess that's one thing I love about being a speaker is that we always have an opportunity to create an influence. So we must be conscious of not just other people's time, but their energy. When you have a person's energy and time, you must be conscious of it because they can be anywhere. There's so many things that people can be tapped into. So for me to either be in front of an audience or in front of a screen, I usually try to give my all.
That's good, but to feel fortunate about the opportunity that you have, talking to people and possibly bringing a message that can change their current situation and in the longer run their life. Because
Yeah,
you are the right messenger for that audience. Otherwise, you wouldn't be there. Things would have been
right.
complicated. So if it happens to you, it happened at the right time, and it happened because it was meant to be. You know.
Yeah. Have you ever had? I mean, of course you have. You're a Toastmaster, so in your part of NSA, and a lot of people. A lot of times there are people who just they go up there and they just go through the motions. They really don't take it too serious. And me being a person in the audience, it's the last thing that I want to experience is somebody wasting my time. Like if you're not going to take it serious, so why should I take it serious? And I think we all should be conscious with that moment, and always be present in that moment, and always try to give your best effort or to give whatever ability that you've been given or that you've been developing, and just show people how good you are. You'd be surprised that when people really see your talents, it takes away the prejudgment. A lot of times when people first see us, they have a different perspective of who we are, or not saying that it's like a prejudice or anything like that. Just people judge people, but when you start to show your talent, it breaks down those walls of judgment, and then it opens up people to your talent. And I love it. It's like in the Bible where they say that your talent can have you sitting at the table with kings. And I feel like my talent has done that because I'm always conscious of my moment.
That's good. It's I feel like when the messages come from God and what you're supposed to say comes out. I remember I was watching Don Francisco, and this is a TV show who used to air in Hispanic television on Saturdays. And there was a lady, she was very small, and she started speaking, and then Don Francisco told her that at the beginning people was looking at her because she was so small, but once when she connected with the message that she was saying, people forgot about it, right? They
Yeah,
just saw this beautiful lady giving this positive message, and they forgot about her size. And that's what happens when we are able to show and connect, to show what we know, and when we're able to connect with the audience, that people forget your
right,
flaws, your imperfections, your accent, the way you're dressing, that you probably don't have the right shoes and stuff like that. Unless you mention it, then people is going to be attracted to it. I remember
right.
a speaker at NSA, and he said that back in the day when he was very poor, he showed up on stage with old shoes, and he was pointed at that. And so next time he went and presented, he made sure that he had new shoes. But I feel like when you mention that, it's like self-deprecating, and I don't recommend that, because I teach self-love. I don't think that you will ever have the need to make yourself less than what you are. Situations happens when sometimes in life we don't have enough money, or you might have forgot that pair of shoes, but that doesn't diminish who you are as a person and what you're bringing into the table, right? So sometimes I feel like there is no need for you to let other people know that you fail, because if he would have not mentioned it, we would have not known about it. So after he said that, we kept on looking at his shoes, and they were new, but they weren't expensive shoes. So it's like your attention goes away for an aspect that there is no need to pay attention to.
Yeah, you see, I think you see a lot of that within the speaker industry, where you get speakers who they try to attach to the audience, and sometimes they really don't have stories, real stories, personal stories that can connect. So that they try to find the any type of way to connect, and that may be the person who they were trying to connect to was the person who didn't have the right shoes. But like you said, another thing was perfect is that know your audience, right, of all times. Because if you know who your audience is, then you really don't have these conflicting messages. So that was a great point to bring up. I like the fact that we educating at the same time, right? But yeah, I love the perspective that you bring, and it just matters. Like I said, that may work with the kids in the classroom. It really may. It just depends on where you are, especially if in a low income area where you look around and you see majority of the kids who have old shoes, right? And then that's going to connect with them. But you get into a certain type of setting, it's not going to deliver the message. So, but it's a great lesson. Regardless of the fact, we still learn from it and we still talking about it. So, hey, it did its purpose, right?
Yeah. What I do basically is, once when they tell me the school, I look at the area, and I live in many areas in Las Vegas because I've been here 23 years. In some of the areas I lived around there, or I remember, how the neighborhood is. Then I'm thinking, what am I going to speak about? What do they need to hear? And then I see these kids on camera, and I see their parents, peeking, and I see
Mhm.
how they look, and then and I see the need. I know what I need to say. So the first one I did love and spirituality. The second one I did money, and this one I think I'm going to do food and beverage. The importance of what we eat and what we drink, because I've been working in restaurants for so long. I can predict what people is going to order by the way they look,
Right.
according to the menu I have. And what we eat is what influences the most our image. And
Mhm.
it's not only the size of our body, but it is our skin and the way we smell. The foods we eat also create the hormones in the way we smell. Like, so if you put a perfume or a lotion on someone, it doesn't smell the same way because that person has different components inside their body.
Right. Right. I like that. And yeah, so well, my message, I feel like the message that I'll be delivering to the children, this upcoming one, is a message of hope, especially after what just happened with the election. I usually try to treat, I teach the, let me back that up. I treat these speeches honestly like it's my last speech. And what is the message that I need to deliver before I leave here? Or what do they need to hear during this current moment in time? And I guess that's why I like being diverse and I don't deliver messages that I've already pre-written. I go basically what's going on in the world. What are these kids dealing with? The fact that these kids are waking up, or not just that, I have a high school child, I have a middle school child, I have an elementary school child, and I'm at home with these parents. I mean, I'm at home with my kids just like these parents are at home with their kids. So I know exactly what they're going through. I know exactly what the children are experiencing. I know what they feel, especially because of what my kids are going through. So, what do they need? They need help with uh, having, we always got to be hopeful, right? We always got to deliver a message of hope and motivation and inspiration, of course. But after we do that, hey, young man, how are you? But after you deliver that message of hope, of course you got to connect. And then a lot of these kids are dealing with depression. They're dealing with stress. They're dealing with being lonely. They're dealing with a whole different feeling that they've never experienced before because they don't have access to their friends. They're not playing sports like they used to. So that social interaction, they're missing that. So they're dealing with depression. And so what I do is I talk on that. I'm saying that if you aren't depressed yet, depression is coming. It usually happens when we've dealt with times like this, the traumatic times like this, like we're experiencing right now with COVID. Of course, the media is watering it down, but what people are experiencing on the inside, internally, within their personal lives, it has to be addressed. So I just teach them how to realize the signs of what depression and what stress looks like, how it affects your body if you don't take care of it, and then I give them ways on how to overcome it or how to prepare for it. I teach them meditation. Of course, whatever they believe in, I tell them to pray or speak affirmations. I want their mindset to be completely ready for exactly what they're going to be experiencing. But it's time now, especially as we're going into holiday season. You think about these kids, parents aren't going to work, or they may be getting unemployment. So now that the holidays are coming, they're not going to get gifts like they used to. This is about to be a very lonely, sad season for many people, and just preparing their mindsets for that. And that's what I usually do, but I usually do it in a hopeful manner. So I have a way that I deliver my message using like a Dora story or I use like Kung Fu Panda. I attach my messages to cartoons because within those cartoons and those movies are messages, and I just really find the message and then I apply it to their life and their situation or how something I experienced in my life, and then they be like, "Wow!" Like they be hyped up, they love it. So yeah, they love it. So
That's
you take a
good.
sad situation, you make it and turn it into a good situation, then you empower them, empower their minds, and yeah. But it just depends on what type of speaker you are and what they need. I know another guy, he's a scientist, and he teach them about biological stuff like that. And some kids who are like if they in a science class, they want to hear that stuff. So it's like a keynote.
Yeah, but it's such a beautiful mission to be teaching little ones, like young people.
Yeah,
Like adults, we hear it all, and it's just reaffirmations whenever you hear a speaker. But young people, it's so important for them because they're not accustomed to speakers, and they think you're a teacher, but as soon as they hear you speaking, you sound different because you don't sound like the teacher. So they want to pay attention. They want to take notes. They're looking at you like, what is she or he gonna talk about now? They're very like you have their attention. It seems like time flies and they want more of you.
yeah. Yeah, they do. It's crazy that they connect like that. You wouldn't think that they do. And some kids they don't. You know, I mean, that's just some kids they don't have that attention span to connect with you no longer than 20 minutes. That's just how they are. You can get them for 20 minutes, you got them, perfect. After that, and then some kids they can text, they can eat and be listening to you spot on. It seem like they're not paying attention to you, but they heard everything you said. I'm like that. I don't need to focus on a person and what their words are. I can work out and listen to an audio book and get the message and the workout at the same time.
But if you could at least inspire one of them, to do what you do or to help someone else, like it teaches people when someone helps you. I remember one time my son got something for Christmas, and I think my brother sent a gift or something like that. And I thanked my brother because I told him I thank you because you're teaching him. He's receiving a gift from you and he didn't expect it. So I told my son, remember when you're older, your uncle sent you a gift. So when you have a nephew, you can be sending a gift for them and it's gonna make them happy how you feel. So even when you receive, you learn. You learn that it's okay to give.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, capture that feeling, capture that emotion, and reciprocation. Right. If you can reciprocate that same feeling, if not to that person, to another, like you said, what they call that when you go to the store and a person buy you something, pay it forward. Yeah, pay it
Pay
forward.
for, yeah. Yeah, I had that happen. I used to buy groceries for people a lot. And one time I went to Albertsons and I didn't have my card. I had to go to the car. And the guy after us pay for my son's milk. It was just a gallon of milk, that's all I had. And so he pays for it. And my son says, Mom, he paid for my milk. I said, yes, Alex, he did. So next time you can pay for someone else's milk, right? But
Yeah.
it teaches them.
So I think those are the messages that would be very, very effective for you to deliver as well to those kids because a lot of kids they don't know these principles and it's gratitude. So the same thing, being a parent, you got to. Some parents are not teaching their kids that, so sometimes you might have to add that into like a story of yours because they do need to hear that. That's they need each other. If we don't raise this new generation to pull it together and to really be there for each other, then they're going to make the same mistakes that a lot of our ancestors or even we made. And we got to try to push this generation forward as much as possible. No matter what race you are, it's very important that we teach them to get to learning and getting to pull together and getting able to utilize each other resources and talents and what they're capable of. Because I don't think these kids know what they're capable of when they come together. I don't think they really realize how much of an influence they had on like the election this year, the 18-year-old voters. But they really do have a lot of power and a lot of strength. And it's very important that we empower them and we show them that how powerful they are so they can use that power correctly, when they get older.
Yeah, we just need to be that support, Brandon. I feel like we are fortunate to have groups that keep on teaching us We have support of friends, you know, that are dedicated, that are wise, that have a mission. But they probably don't. Maybe their parents don't have that privilege, you know, of being
Right.
around of so many talented people who is wise, who knows how to make money, who knows how to make connections, who knows how to talk to each other, who knows how to forgive. And their parents probably don't have that privilege, you know. Maybe they're dealing with their own issues. Maybe they're dealing with parents that are in drugs or have addictions, or they're themselves are so depressed that they have no room for anyone else, and they might be abandoned by their own parents. But if we come and make the support for them to feel like they are deserving and they are being taken care of, it's like you're bringing hope and happiness to that little heart, you know. So
Right.
and that ultimately brings blessings into your life.
Yeah, it does. It does. So like I remember when I used to just try to wing it as a father, like just just fulfill whatever needs need to be met. But I had to I had to read. Like I really did have to start studying on how to be a parent. It was crazy. And this is after I'd already started learning and teaching myself so much. So I'm like, what is one of the most important things in my life? And I'm like, yeah, being a parent. Well, you should read a book on how to be a parent. And I started reading this book, and it was amazing because it made me realize like I was one of those dads who used to want to push my son to be an athlete because I was an athlete. I pushed my daughters to be athletes because I was an athlete, like living my glory. And then in this book, the lady has said that you just a steward. Like for like this is God's creation. God blessed you with this and the spirit to take care of, and not to push it to do what you want it to do, but to guide it. You guide this little spirit along, and you teach it from right and wrong, and that's how it is. It's not like you don't push everything on them, like because everybody is so different. Like one of my kids need more affection than the other one does. One needs me to be more aggressive, and one needs me to act like I really just don't care, right? And that's how I effectively communicate and get my point across, other than me having to be like a dictator and be like, you do this, you do that, or you do, nah. It and I think that Toastmasters also helped me with that. My communication, how to communicate not just with adults, but children and everybody alike. When you approach, all your communication with everybody in a strategic manner, and if you look at it like God is speaking to you right now, what am I supposed to receive or what am I supposed to give? It's always a fruitful communication point, right? Something always comes good after that communication, and that's really like my approach right now. Like I'm 36 years old. I don't want to waste no more years. I want to try to be as influential as I can, and every opportunity that I get, I'm taking it. I'm taking it. Especially now, COVID has made me see that life is just too short to take for granted, and you must do all you can right now to chase your dream. Chase it, get it. Why not? Why not?
And you'll be surprised, you know, what God has in box for us to open, you know, when it's the right time. I see many successful people speaking, but many times when they're speaking to you, they're telling you lies about how much money they make, how really is their life, you know. And you can see they have a lot of content, but you don't see a happy individual. You don't see a loving soul right there. Even when they come in, the way they talk to the person up front, or the way they just behave, you know, they're not approachable. So the quality of you as a person, it tells a lot about you, you know. And that potentially brings you business, because I had one of the interviews I had, as one of the members of NSA. And I told him I will recommend his program. And he says, if you can get me two people, I'll get you in for free. I said, I'm not, you know, that would be good, but it's not like I'm recommending him because I want to get him for free, because I actually think I went to that kind of program in Spanish already like 15 years ago. But the way I'm recommending him is I'm telling people how good of a human being he is. And I know that if they go through his program, he's going to take care of them, you know. And it doesn't matter if I go through the program for free or not, but it's the quality as a person that you
Okay.
have, where people has the trust on you. Like building the trust is so important because not only because it will bring you money, but because it will bring you people that you can honestly help. I think
Right.
if you get $100 and you honestly help someone, it feels better than if you got 1,000 and you know you didn't do anything.
Right.
And you're gonna find out, and you're gonna find out, about that. And consciously, we
Yeah.
know when we provide value and we don't. I don't think that buying something for $1,000 is gonna make you as happy as buying something with those $100, where you know internally that you changed someone's life and they are so grateful that that might bring you more. I feel like sometimes going for the money is not what we need to do, because yeah, we live and everything material stays here. So what is
Hmm.
the point of all these accumulations, right? If we don't even are able to make ourselves happy and enjoy what we get,
Yeah.
enjoy what we have, and just be able to be kind to people.
Yeah.
Kindness is a great virtue that we can cultivate more.
Yeah. I feel like at this point in time of my life, I used to say like yeah, money really and if you think about it, money is really just it's just a tool
Yeah.
to get to the next thing, right? So for me, I'm thinking like, man, if I had a bunch of money, what would I do? And honestly, I would take time to spoil myself at times. As being in my predicament, or just I talk in disc, right? So I'm like a high I, which is like an influential, and then I'm also a high S, which is like a steady. But when you know what it is, you understand that like you'll limit yourself because you want this steadiness, or you have so many ideas that you don't get anything done at times, right?
Yeah.
So really having to really having to capture myself and figuring out that that is my weakness. Not It's not something that I just can't do. It's just a weakness of mine. And if like say if I had the money, I can just hire somebody with that strength to help me. If not that, now I had to take the money to develop that skill. And how are it takes money to develop. You need money to buy a book, you need money to implement certain strategies, you need money to go to school, you need money to get, the information on a course online. It takes money to do that. And I say that if I was to get to the point to where I really needed to be motivated by money, I think just the whole being able to spoil myself, because I've given so much of myself for free. I've always put myself second. I've never been selfish in my life. So at this time of 36 now, my body is reacting different. I'm looking at time a little different. And I see that I do like you need to take care of yourself. There is time that you need to make for yourself to get like massages, get your feet done. If you're a woman, get your nails done. If you're a man, get a pedicure. Like, why not take care of yourself? And I think I just want to take care of myself better. I want to feed myself better foods, and I want to drink better water. I want to live in a higher elevation where where the air is much more fresh. I live by the ocean. Like I want those luxuries for my spirit, for my soul, for my body at some point in time. But for right now, I do understand that this is a sacrifice time where you just grind, 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 and then I guess the fruits of your labor will come. And that's what I want to do. I want to expect it, and then I also want to put the work in so much right now that I deserve it, right? So when I get there, that I can enjoy it, and really that's what I want. But I realize I got to influence and I got to touch as many lives as I can during my process. So if a person who has an event has a big budget, then I should be getting what I'm worth. If a person that needs me to speak, they don't have a budget similar to like payback, I should be giving them all that I have, and that's what I'm worth. You know what I mean? Because I do feel like those opportunities will come, or they'll present themselves from that hard work or from that dedication, or that that we put in.
No, but there is nothing wrong for charging for your work. I remember a lady who came to NSA and she said she was tired of doing free events. She says, no more free. I'm not doing no more free. Now I got to charge. And
I
that's,
felt like that before.
nothing wrong with it. Like, I love money, but, and there is a point in your life, like as you get older, you get tired, you get, your back hurts, you get all these different symptoms that you didn't get when you were younger. And we do need to take care of ourselves, and but we do need to find the way of making the money. And what you were
Right.
saying, that your weakness, I think that is just recognizing your strength, because I seen that on me too. Like, I'm good at starting projects. Like, I'll be starting a book, I have the idea, I have the chapters and everything, but I started it and then I don't continue it, I start another one. So the program the Dogwood has, this is the guy I was telling you about, he helps you to find your purpose and what God designed you to do. That's what he says, that when you go through the assessments, they identify what you are best at. So,
Mhm.
and then you can hire people to cover where you are not the best at, but you can
Right.
still be the producer of that product, dream, or
Right.
program, or event, or whatever it is that is related to your way of making money, because there's many ways we can make money. It's just we need to become creative. and
Yeah.
and life gets better when you move to a better location. Even the schools are better, you know.
Right.
I have no
Yeah. Education is better.
I don't think that being spiritual means that you like to be poor. I don't think
Yeah.
anyone likes to be.
Right. I like that you said that. So we got to put that in quotes. Just because you're spiritual don't mean you like to be poor, and
No.
that's true. And it's just, you know, having access to it. Just there being a way. And honestly, at one point in time, there was limited access to that lifestyle. That lifestyle exists now. I was always raised that I got to put extra work in. Like, I have to be extra talented in order to with a certain demographic in this world. And I've always had that in the back of my mind, which is now is so great, because now that times are changing, I don't feel like I got to put out 10 times the effort as other people. I just, because now that I got the knowledge to be able to leverage, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a networking event, whether it's money, whatever, or the opportunity, I know how to work a lot smarter now, to where I don't have to put that much work in. But it's only because we've been given access to the information, right? Now that we've been given access to the information, we can apply it. It's opening a lot more doors, a lot more opportunities for us. So I'm just happy that I've been able to position myself to be able to take advantage of this opportunity now, because now it's like my hard work finally paid off. Like, you work so hard and you struggle for so long, and you see other people who just kind of thrive immediately, but then you realize that that's not even real, right? It's not real. You have to go through this process, and you have to go through the steps. And I'm just happy. I'm happy to be alive at these times. I'm happy to have conversations like this with people like you. This is great.
Yeah, definitely take advantage of technology, and also the words you're saying. You know, like I was speaking at the payback speech, and I remember I told them that the more I live in Vegas, the more rich people I know, and the richer the people. Lately,
Hmm.
I've been realizing that, you know, it's just you being open to being okay with being around rich people. So the place I work, the events I go, the people I have as friends, the people I get interviewed by. And I went to a house last week to get interviewed, and I was amazed of, you know, how much I know that that house is, because it's close to where I work. I know how much those houses are. They're like $500,000 and maybe more. But everything you see in the house, right? And you just amazed at what you see. And I was thinking, will I ever have a house like this? And who knows, you know, who knows, like honestly, if it can happen to you. And we need
Hey,
to dream big. We need to dream big, because there is no limits on what is available to us. We just need to be smart about it.
it's crazy, because you see people living in them houses, and people been living like that for years on years on years. And
Yeah.
only the male has work. It's been like that. Like, it's one income that's been able to provide that type of lifestyle. And man, that must be amazing, because I think since I've been married, my wife and I, we've always both worked. It's always been like that. The kids always had to deal with us going to work and not being around one of us until now. Now they deal with us all day, or we deal with them all day. But yeah, times are changing, and So I'm just happy. I'm happy with where we headed. I look forward to it.
Take advantage of whatever it is that comes into your plate, like savor that and just get the best out of it,
Hmm.
and just believe that you deserve it, and life is going to change, and this is all a tough time for us. I see people at NSA who used to make a lot of money, and now you see them more humble, because they understand what being poor is,
Mm.
and you see changes, even the way they look at you, it's different. It's different the way
Yeah.
they approach you, the way they look at you, and that is something that I see when you're able to connect uh, at a deeper way with someone. When they're going through hardship, it's a different way of looking at you.
Hmm.
Ultimately, they're human too. It's just sometimes people have shells that we cannot penetrate because they don't want anyone to know where they live, what kind of sexual orientation they have. And but when hardships come around or someone in the family dies, it's like they don't care about any of that because there is a bigger situation happening where they don't care to have that protective shell on them and no one can get to me, because we can see the humanity on them.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we are humans just surviving.
Right. You become vulnerable. You
Yeah.
definitely do. I feel like I feel like that was what kind of my book. That's what I say. Pretty much. That was where I lost my ego. I went through a tragic situation, and just bouncing back from going through that, it makes you just look at life differently. Like I said, when you experience certain things, it does totally make you look at life differently. So what people are experiencing now, having to depend on government in certain areas, needing certain loans, needing unemployment, just seeing that safety blanket isn't there like they thought it was. That does humble you. And I don't even think that people have been humbled so far, and I don't even think we've seen the worst of it. I think the worst is still coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I truly do, and I truly feel like we're going to be experiencing some really tough times here soon, and in the future. But I guess it depends on how you position yourself, because you can really create a life for yourself right now to where you don't have to worry. But if you wait on the government, or if you wait on anybody to do anything for you, you're gonna miss the boat. And if you miss that boat, honestly, the the pain and the suffering that you're gonna have to experience being on somebody else's time and somebody else's thoughts and belief system is just not gonna work for you, and you're setting yourself up for generations of turmoil. And we need to really wake up each other so that we can all take advantage of this time that we have, especially people who look like you and I. They haven't been given these opportunities before. Like you said, when you walk into these rooms, people look at you different. Like, as a speaker, I often am the only black man in certain rooms, and I remember when people used to look down on me. I don't feel like that no more. Like, people really, I mean, I don't know why it feels different, but it does. It feels different.
No, it's good, and I totally get that. Many times I'm the only Hispanic lady there, and I feel, and it has happened to me, many times random where I have lost my job, and then I'm mad, and I'm talking to God, and what I'm hearing is that sometimes that's what He does to make us humble again, to have compassion for others, because when we have it good, it's like people say, like when you have money, you forget about God, and but when you don't have it and when it's hard for you, and sometimes situations happens where everything was good one day and then it crashed the following day. It's
Yeah.
just a change of a manager, just a change of the owner. You made a customer upset and all of a sudden you're gone, right? And you were counting on that job because that was your only job. And a lot of times we have this only one activity that we do that bring us money. So
Yeah.
what I've been learning with this and throughout the years is that we need to have more activities that bring us money. We need to find other ways of having income that if we don't get it from one source, we get it from another one.
Hmm.
Just to have multiple incomes coming is what is going to cover at least the necessities.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you this. Try switching around on you real quick. So you think about what you just said. Have there ever been a time in the past where there was like an unexpected turn, right? Like there was a fired, or you got terminated, or you experienced something. But if you think back, right, before you think like this all of a sudden happened, like I always try to think back to when anything bad happened to me. Was there any kind of signs that exposed themselves prior? And usually there is some type of sign, right? I always think about like, man, like before I got laid off from my position, and this was last summer in 2019. And when I got laid off, it was crazy because the whole time leading up to like June, I was just feeling like I need to find something different. Like this is not gonna work. Like I started having this different intuitions and I didn't follow it. And because I didn't follow it, I had to take the L hard. Like God had to like show me hard. Like, oh, I knew that I should have did it, but why did I gotta experience this? Because I told you, or because you had it in your mind that you should have made this change and you didn't do it. And now you gotta suffer some type of way. Not saying that's what God says, but in my mind, philosophy wise, if you don't take advantage, it, it's like say if a person has infidelities, right? You found out your spouse has infidelities and you don't say nothing. You just kind of like just let it go, right? All right, now because you didn't say nothing, this infidelity has now led to this person having a child. Now, if you would have said something, you could have addressed it before the child was ever even born. But now, because you didn't say something, this is what the infidelity has led to. So, just thinking about like life like that, like if you address the issues and the signs when you get them and you receive them, is usually a better turnout than if you wait. Because if you wait too long, it's not just you that suffer, but the people around you that have to suffer as well.
Yeah, it is definitely, we as women have a bigger intuition and we listen to it, I think, more often.
Mm,
But it definitely happens that if you don't pay attention, so what happens in life is we think that we as parents or we as adults, soon as we turn 30, we feel like we need to toughen up, right? And you think you can deal with the situation. Like you said, an infidelity happens and you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to stop it. You want to you kind of accept it. You kind of make it acceptable because you're thinking maybe I can do the same thing and it's gonna be all right. But
mm,
when the sets of values that you have is telling you it's not all right that you do the same thing, and your kids don't deserve a parent like that, then you're being pulled, to the right path. But if you don't talk about it, yes, another life might come around. But so these souls, that are coming into the world, they are choosing parents for specific reasons, and sometimes it's because in order
good.
for that person to fulfill the path, they need to be abandoned by the parent. So they
Ooh,
come
that's
from
good.
conflictive situations where it's not appropriate for them to be the child, right? So the parent, in order to keep the wife happy, he's not gonna be around because he has another person he needs to care for, or he has maybe more kids with the first one. And so this child coming into this life with this experience, that's what he needs to fulfill his purpose. And it's
Uh,
all in order. It's always right. And if it would have not happened with your significant one, it could have been another person. But if you let it go, it's because you are accepting it. You are accepting it with all the consequences. Because if it wasn't okay, you would have talked about it.
yeah,
You would have walked out. You would have make a change. You would have
yeah,
said, "It's hurting me. Please stop it." And if the
yeah,
person doesn't do it, then at least you say something,
yeah.
right? But there is signs always. I definitely believe in listening to your guidance, and
Mhm.
I tell people that you're your own angel. You're rescuing
Yeah,
yourself. You're pulling yourself when you're about to commit a crime. You're pulling yourself. Unless you let yourself go, it's conscious. There is
yeah.
nothing that we do unconsciously. There is
That's
no way
good.
you can touch someone in their private parts and you thinking they're not feeling.
Right.
Even if they're trying to make it seem like they're sleeping, you know that they're not. Like we consciously commit crimes,
Mhm.
so that once when you want to pull yourself back, sometimes it's too late. So
Right.
sometimes we get abuse in work situations where people make lies around you to get you fired or to make you mad and then you have to walk out. So what happens with all those situations is that they teach us that we have a value, and it doesn't have to be diminished by anybody. And
Right.
sometimes to be that light and to shine that light, we need to walk out. But you don't walk out unless the situation is bad, unless you're pulled out, you know. And that's what creates the change. Like I went through probably 30 jobs in Las Vegas. So I went through all that, where I just keep on thinking, oh my God, what did I keep on finding these situations?
Right.
But it's just, that when you are a hero and when you are a leader, you are put into all those situations because that's what is going to create a wide understanding. And
Yeah.
once when you go and teach people, then you have examples, you know how it feels.
Right. Really good. I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. You said some real good. Yeah, some real good aha moments on that. You got to make sure what minute was that, because whatever minute that is, you got to make sure you record that and chop that up for
Yeah,
yourself.
I don't see the minutes, but you just have to trust it, Brandon. Like, what we need, I feel like our mothers and our, mother, well, my dad died when I was 2, but I feel like my mom was different with all of us. Like, I feel like her wisdom was beyond her understanding because she treated every one of us differently. She
Hmm.
talked to us in a different way. And I understand that is because we needed a different mother according to our purpose. And it's the same
Yeah.
person. And it's just the clear understanding that you have about your kids. You have a clear understanding how you need to be with each of them.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel how my mom was. She was able to direct me in the way of her directing me was by not giving me what I wanted, which was being a teacher when I was back then, in Mexico. And now I understand that if I would have been a teacher back then, my life will be so much more, so much more with a smaller purpose, so by me coming and wanting to teach people now at this age with the wisdom that I have, but with the opportunities that I have and with the money I'm able to get, it's better. So I'm able to give more by me not having what I wanted when I wanted it. And she was wise enough to tell me it's not happening.
Right.
And
And
sometimes you just
that
have to
delayed
cry it out.
yeah, that delayed gratification is key. Is key to life. And like you said, so like when we was talking about even depression earlier, we was talking about like the change and the humble is when there are people in this world that have never experienced that, and now that they are experienced that which you just talked about, it's a humbling experience. That's it's completely humble. Your whole mindset has to completely change and adjust to these times. And it's crazy how where we see opportunity, a lot of people are seeing defeat. And that's I think that is a huge disconnect here. Uh, because I remember like when immigrants used to come to America and like say like they were from like Nigeria, and they would say things like I don't understand how you guys are in this current situation. And I guess it's different for a person who's trying to come here just to thrive than a person who's trying to come here to build a family and make up for generations of neglect, or whether it was drug abuse or domestic violence or things like that. Like we all come here on a different purpose. And then I love what you said about how that child or that spirit or that soul is here to fulfill that mission. So like when you said it has to deal with that abandonment in order to fulfill the mission that it has for the souls that it's coming into as well. It's so great because it's kind of like, man, like when I leave out of this body, what am I heading into? What am I headed into? Like, it's crazy. But that's good. I think those messages that you just said, I think kids need to hear that. I honestly, we are under the impression that these kids do get those messages, or they are hearing that, but they're not. My son, if I didn't dictate his day, he would spend 8 to 10 hours playing video games all day. And I'm pretty sure nobody on those video games are educating him or having those type of mindfulness type of conversations with him. and there he has a lot of his friends that do play the games all day. And I know they play games all day because he gets mad at me because his friends are mad at him because he can't play all day. So, these kids got to get these messages from somewhere, but not just kids, these adults too. Sometimes these parents, they just don't know this stuff and they need to be educated. And sometimes you got to educate the kids so they can educate the parent. And whatever way we got to do in order to get into that house to make a difference and make an influence, be conscious of it, because this is a great tool right here. You can get a person in front of their screen, you in there. You and if they screen is not blacked out or nothing like that, you can see the whole background. So you in a home, and just being conscious of that time, being conscious with our messaging, and being one thing we have to do is we have to be conscious with our power. We are about to be given a lot of power that we haven't been given before, a lot more influence, and we really got to be very careful with it. I'm very interested in seeing how this presidency thing turns out and seeing how Donald Trump, now that he's no longer in the presidency, how are people going to follow, and how are they going to have like a king, or just trying to see how the mindset of America is going to change, because people like you and I have always had to adapt to their way of thinking. I think that now we have control. We have control of ourselves. We get to put ourselves in certain environments, in front of certain crowds, and we have control of our lives now. It's a great feeling, and we need to share that with the world.
Yeah.
Share that.
I think it's a good change, whatever Donald Trump did, he did it already. So we have a new person with a new opportunity, and let's just see what he does with it.
Yeah.
It might be a good surprise, it might be a good surprise for us. And probably getting a promise is better than not getting anything, and ultimately it's up to him if he fulfills the promise of not. He's being trusted right now, and we just have to see what he does with the trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I'm so worried. I only worry about the rest of it. You worry about how is this going to affect everybody else. Like,
yeah.
how does it? Like, you hear about how much is happening right now, and you just don't want to see too many more people suffer. No matter who they are. I don't want to see anybody suffer, no matter what race, ethnicity, what they believe in. If you believe, if you are racist, I truly believe that. I mean, it's okay. You just should be segregated from the rest of the people who are here, because you know um, you shouldn't be around people that you don't want to be around. Simple as that. And
Yeah.
you don't have to. We can sit right here in front of our computer and
Yeah.
and never do anything. But I just want to see where we're headed, and I'm happy. Like I said, I'm so happy with just the progress that has been made, and I'm happy that God still exists.
Yeah. I think people is becoming more conscious. I hear white people talking about the white privilege, and they recognize that there is a white privilege.
Yeah,
So we need them
yeah,
to become conscious of, that it is, and we've been dealing
reality.
with it, and we haven't having the downside, and it needs to be it needs to be changed in a way where we are humanity. We're not racist. That this is a country that has many different cultures,
Hmm.
and we need to be able to integrate all of them, because what are we gonna do to kick people out? Like, people is used to live here, they have
Hmm.
their families, they contribute to the richness of this country with everything that they do. We all pay bills, we all have to buy gasoline, we all have to buy groceries, we all pay taxes, we have to rent a place if we don't own it. We have to buy shoes. Like, we all have the same needs. It doesn't matter what race we are.
Yeah,
We have little ones that we need to feed. Some people don't have little ones, they have pets. They still need to
yeah,
buy food for them.
right.
Even some people got rid of their pets around COVID, and
Yeah,
and and that is a sad thing. But I don't have pets because I have kids, and that's a big enough of responsibility. But everyone chooses their battles, right? Who you wanna sustain, And if it's only you, sometimes it's even hard to carry yourself out of depression.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It definitely is. And like you said, that's always be aware of your timing and your purpose, right? You know, always be aware of what your mission is and what you are here for. I think just like you said, when kids come into this world and certain things, I know I've heard of people like not wanting to be alive anymore and then getting pregnant and then having a baby, and then that baby is giving them all the purpose in the world to live their life. And man, you just make a good point. Just whatever anybody is facing, and I have to keep that in mind for myself because I don't have the best days every day. Even though I'm positive, and even though I'm inspiring, I have a tough road ahead of me probably, and I know that. But I still stay positive and hopeful, knowing that a better day is coming, even if the day is bad. And even if the day is good, I know that even it could even get better, and that's what I'm aiming for. It's trying to create those days, right? Trying to create those moments, trying to create those memories, and not having to wait for like a vacation and having a boss to tell me that I can take 2 weeks off. Like, just trying to create that life for myself, and that's what my focus is right now.
You just gotta stay positive, Brandon. As we speak, someone is dying, a kid is being abused, someone is being killed, someone is getting fired, someone is not eating, but it's also someone is singing their first song and having their first performance and getting their first big paycheck, right? So we just need to understand the balance and where we fit into it. We're probably not in any of the opposites, but we are still here,
Mhm.
having an opportunity. And the age you have, like, you are so young, you have so much life ahead of you, and whatever opportunity you have to express a message. And what I do when I speak, I don't write my speeches, and I don't write the interviews, I don't write the questions I need to ask you, because I trust that the message that needs to be given, that's what is going to come out, and I just trust in that.
That's good. You're very in tune. That's good.
Yeah, I have an idea and I can create a title, but I don't have any of the content written. And I just follow what I see, the reactions on the room, and I just follow what comes to me, and that's what I say.
That's right. I've seen you speak. 'Cause I seen it. I seen it. I seen it in action. But that's good. It's a gift to have,
Yeah.
and it's within your personality. There are some personality types that they need it to be specific. They need to have a PowerPoint. Matter of fact, they if they could, they would have the type, the typewriter, typintron.
Yeah.
They would
The
that teleprompter.
teleprompter.
Yeah, they would have a
Yeah.
teleprompter.
I
But
guess I guess I could do that. I can prepare probably a speech where I can record it and make a PowerPoint presentation, but I would rather not to. I think it's better to, if I had the opportunity to make it live and to make it what I'm getting and what I'm giving, I think it will be more impactful. I just think for me, it works that way, that
mhm,
I fully trust that what is coming out is what is needed in that particular time in life. And even sometimes people get the message years later, but that's the right time for them.
right, you're right. It's crazy as you say that because I remember when a guy it was like I had first started college, and this guy gave us like a little 15-minute speech to inspire us. And one thing that when people recommend books or they quote a book, I always write down the book. So I write down this book when he say the name of his book, and I never pay attention to it. And then 5 years later, I go through a situation, and for some reason, I remember this book that this guy said. And I'm like, I'm gonna get the book, and I got the book, and I promise you, that book probably is the reason why I'm still here to this day, because that book saved my life, and it's called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. It was amazing. Yeah, it was amazing, amazing. Then after that, I think I read a book about like Don Miguel Ruiz called The Four Agreements, and then that book took me to another level. So yeah, man, it's beautiful. Like I always pay attention to what people say, and then I'll always use that information at a later time. Because you're definitely right, you will need it.
Yeah, and trusting that you're ahead of yourself. You know how many times we buy things that we don't need at the moment. And
Mhm.
years later, you find out you already got that. You were already prepared. Something happens in your life and you needed that particular piece of clothes or those
Yeah,
shoes, but you already had it, you know?
right,
And that happens when I guess this guidance that we have is telling us what is coming, right? And when you're shopping, it's like you're meditating because you're unattached to anything. You're just looking. Apparently you're looking for something, you don't know where you're looking, but you know when you find it, right?
right,
But it's always ahead of time. It's always preparing us for what's happening. Like that talk that you went that was 5 years before you needed the book, like the message was given to you that early,
wow,
you know?
yeah,
And it was important because whenever you needed, your mind reminded you of that. But it was also the guidance that you had that that make you assured that that is what you need without a doubt. And we all have that, you know, we all have that guidance system. It's just we have to trust it. We need to listen to it because when you don't, you see what happens.
right,
You see
yeah,
the difference when you don't listen to it.
yeah. Things things happen in divine order. Exactly.
Yeah, like you know better. You know better. Yeah, you just have to
Yeah,
stay alive, be positive, and believe that your situation is much more fortunate than many people that don't have it as good as you, as much as you think your situation is bad. Like
right.
even being the age you are, being a parent, being alive for your kids, having a wife. How many men don't have a wife or a girlfriend? They haven't kissed anyone during COVID because who wants to be close to anybody, right? This
Mm.
is like love in the time of COVID is so different. Like people don't want to be close to you.
Wow.
If you start talking about someone in your family got COVID or they got sick, like they don't want to come and see you, you
Mm.
know. And it's all this like situations that sound simple but that are important. Imagine how someone feels when they haven't been able to kiss anybody that they dearly love
Right.
because of COVID, you know, because a situation happens where people is stressed out or the significant one doesn't feel like they want to see them
Yeah.
and they're not answering their phone calls or their texts or they're not calling back. Like it sounds simple, but it can be depressing for someone, right? So
You're right.
even in the small situations that you see every day in your life, there are blessings and there are aspects that you're enjoying that other people don't have.
Right.
Just living here in US, like I know because I come from a third world country, and even the culture, even how people talk about you, even how it's all wrong, anything you do, and they make it so big, you know, even something small where people constantly judge you and criticize you, and they don't let you be, and they don't appreciate you. You can be so talented, but people bring you down, right? And that is
Yeah.
my culture. But you don't have that in here unless you're surrounded by people whose primarily intention is to bring you down.
Right.
So don't be that person. You know, you need to be your own cheerleader and believe that you're fortunate.
Yeah, that's another good message. You gotta deliver that one too. You gotta deliver that one to the kids too. The guaranteed. You right. You got, if you can't be your own cheerleader, and if you can't, yeah, it's hard, man. You can't have expectations of others. You just can't, right? Unless you are constantly putting positivity and good energy to that person. It's just the power of reciprocity. You're usually gonna get it back. But you can't have expectations of others that things are just gonna happen for you. But depending on, like you said, depending on how, your spirituality, your alignment, your faith, and how much you pay attention to the signs, usually the right thing shows up at the right time. You just got to pay attention to it.
Yeah, and you have
And I
to.
like that. I think that'd be like the main message for tonight's thing is to be aware. Like honestly, always be aware of your situation and your environment and everything that's going on with you. Not just what's going on with you internally, but how things are turning out around you. Is things a mess? Is it good energy? Is it bad energy? Do you need to shift your energy? And just being grateful as well. I think you did a great job at expressing how we need to have gratitude for every day and everything that we have at the present moment. And I think that's very important. And that we need each other. Unity, and being able to leverage off of one another, recommend each other, and share opportunities with one another as well. I think that that's very important. Information, of course, perspectives. Yeah.
There is so much on the way for us, Brandon. I do this practice that I set my alarm clock at 11:11 in the morning. And every time that goes off, I say, I'm a rich woman, I'm a rich woman. And I've been doing this for a while. And my little one already knows. So the other day, I was driving to the school, to my son's school, to pick up some work that the teacher did. And it felt already like that way. I'm a rich woman. So I started crying because I have the feeling of what it feels to be a rich woman. And I just felt the environment. I felt the school. I felt my truck where I was driving. I was happy coming back home. And it felt real.
That's right.
It felt real. So I don't doubt it. And I know that the more I believe it, the more it's going to come. Right. But what are the beliefs that we are planting in ourselves as the seeds that are growing? Right.
Yeah.
Eventually, it's not because you fake it until you make it. It's because you're creating it for yourself, and eventually it happens.
Yeah. What I've learned to realize is that so like because I got 4 children and I'm married, and I got my mom and then my sisters, I got a big family. And one thing I've learned is that I can try so hard, and I'm pretty sure that success and riches can come to me very easy if I just got selfish and I focused on myself. But what I have realized is that it means nothing if the people around me are not accomplishing what they were set out to. That's what I really want to make sure that I do, is I put myself in a position to not only be a resource to them, but also as they get on their path and they are doing what they're supposed to be doing, putting myself in a position to be able to fund or to be able to create even more opportunities for them. That means so much to me, to be able to create that lifestyle for not just my family, but also the people in my community, the people who are talented that's been looked over, the people who are not being told that they are special or gifted, just showing them how special that they really are, helping them believe in themselves. I truly believe that the more talented people that we have out here doing what they're supposed to be doing, the better this world turns out to be. And I just want to be a part of that.
Yeah, well, I want to let you know that the more people you help and the more people depends on your money, is the more people you have desiring, the more money comes to you. Because the more money coming to you is the more money coming to them. So
Right.
when you have that team of people who desires what you desire, it eventually comes to you. And it's good that you're not selfish. It is good to take care of yourself first, and then help whenever you can, and when you feel it's the right thing to do. But also trust that their appreciation when you help them, and their desire is pure for you to have more, because they know when you get more, they're able to be benefited by it. So it's not your desire alone that is attracting these opportunities and more money. It is also theirs. It's everyone who you help with the money that you get.
That's right. No, that's right.
So think of all these people that you have, with you that desire what you desire. That's even
That's right.
powerful.
I love it. I love it. That's good. So what's next for you, Maria?
Well, just take any opportunities that come along, just be out there, promote myself any way that I can. And it's just by you showing what you do, people get inspired. Like when I started doing the interviews, Jesse started doing his own. I interviewed another lady, Maria Romano. She loved the concept. She started doing it herself. And, you just never know. Like sometimes what we do is so simple that anyone can replicate it. But I trust on everyone's uniqueness of doing what they do, you know. And I'm not afraid that anyone does the same thing I do, that they interview my same guest, that maybe someone that I invited chooses someone else, you know. That's okay with me. You know, I'm open to possibilities, and I know my opportunity is there, you know, waiting for me to be ready to receive it. And that's what I trust. That
Yes.
what God has for me, there is nothing anyone can take away, as long as I can feel that I deserve it.
That's right. Well, I agree. I think you're doing an amazing job. I think you're doing, yeah, great questions, and you make your guests feel welcome. So I appreciate you.
Thank you. Tell us where people can find you, how they can contact you, hire you.
All right, so you can contact me. I'm gonna give out my phone number 702-482-2574. Also, you can be reached on all social media platforms. I am Brandon Ward. If you look up there, you can, oh, right there, there's
Yeah.
that. My website is iambrandonward.us. And then also, if you want to support our nonprofit, that's dreamsafe.org. Again, that's dreamsafe.org. Other than that, if you Google my name, I'm pretty sure a bunch of stuff will start popping up. But you can follow me there and contact me through my emails. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Uh, but I hope to hear from you soon.
You just have to put the promo out. Definitely take advantage of social media.
Definitely
It's
will.
Facebook, Instagram. I know LinkedIn. I don't understand it as much. You know, I'm still having issues. I'm testing like what to write, what picture to put on, and I'm checking which one has more views. And we just have to spend time on a platform to understand it. I finally got to understand Facebook. And my son was laughing at me the other day. He said, "Well, this is a platform that works the best for people in your age group." And he says, "After all these years, you guys finally figured out how it works."
Yeah, yeah. But I'm out there. You'll see me on, like I said, on all those platforms. And then, like I said, as 2021 arrives, for some reason you just start having more belief in yourself, and you start putting yourself out there more. And that's more what it's all about. People are just have certain insecurities about certain things that people don't even care about. And it's about getting over that fear, getting through that discomfort, and just putting out and delivering the message.
You need to be brave. You need to believe.
Yeah,
And just
yeah,
do it, you know, just like the Nike. It's a really good message. Just do it.
definitely.
Make yourself available and make yourself visible, and just you never know who's watching you.
Right. Right. Yeah. Back to that. Yeah. Yeah. And we ended on that one. Yeah. You never know who's listening or watching. But
Yeah.
yeah, I do appreciate you, Maria. I gotta go and prepare dinner with the family.
I'm glad. See, that's one of your blessings.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate you for telling me that. Thank you. Oh, and I'm revisiting your Toastmasters group soon too.
That's fine. Thank
All
you
righty.
so much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Brandon.
Same thing for me. You have a good night.
Good night.